When I saw your post, I was very excited because I thought, oh my God, I want to share my story because I have quite an incredible story. And it's because of law of attraction that I'm successful today, that I have good, good relationship with my children. I'm happy. And yes, I manifested abundance, but to be honest, abundance is none of it at the end of the day. It's really about happiness and being connected to your divine self. I think that's where life comes from. And I feel very blessed that I found law of attraction because even the other day I was thinking about all the other things I've studied, in India with other teachers. Law of attraction gives you the ability to take your life into your own hands. You are in control of your destiny. Nothing is controlling your life. You are controlling your life. And then to have that insight and then to go, okay, well, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How do I get into a good feeling place? It's really all on you. And if you really know that and you embody that, your whole life can change so quickly, like within seconds, if you're ready for that. I was homeless for a while, and I was always very good at manifesting things. So I remember one time I had a car accident. I couldn't work. I had like very little money from employment insurance is what you get. And you get just like this tiny percentage and what you've paid into it. And I was like, oh my God, I can't work. Like I can barely walk. I didn't have a car. And I remember being so broke that I didn't even have money to buy my kids food. Like I was just like, I remember like going to the grocery store, finding the cheapest thing I could buy, figuring out how to just stretch that out. And then at the same time, there was a new kid who came to my son's school and his parents were working and he used to come to our house for a play date. And then one time the mom was like, hey, can you just babysit him and I'll just give you a few extra bucks? And I was like, sure. I was like, he's here anyways. And I was like, I can't work anyways. So she was like, oh yeah, I'll just give you a little extra money. So she did. And I didn't know anything about her job. And one day when she came to pick him up, she was working at craft services on like TV shows and commercials. They finished the show. She brought in 2 boxes of groceries. She's like, oh, I just finished. Do you want these groceries? And it was just like this, like, I just felt so saved. I was like, oh my God, I just manifested all these groceries. Like I didn't even have money for food. And at the time, she didn't know my financial situation. She just knew that like I wasn't working. So things always came to me. But when I became a deliberate creator, things, big things came to me. So, okay, this is amazing. I've always wanted to be a homeowner because, who doesn't want to own a home? And in Vancouver, where I was living at the time, it's very, very, very expensive to own a home. Most people don't. So I kept putting it out there. I want to own a home. I was like, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to make it look good on paper. I need to get a loan. So then I was like talking to the bank and they're like, okay, give us your information. And obviously at the time I was like, in Canada, it's like 2 years, right? Your 2-year bank statement. So I was like making my numbers look good and going around. And then they're like, well, do you have this? Do you have that? And I'm like, no. They're like, well, how much money do you have invested? I was like, well, money's just cash in the bank to give to you for a down payment. Like, and then so eventually I actually got a pretty decent loan. I don't even know how. And I was like, great. And yeah, then everything kind of fell into place. And then in 2016, I built my dream home 2 blocks from the beach in Vancouver. And this is what happened. A year and a half ago, I decided I was spending more time in Whistler during the pandemic. And I thought, oh, I want to buy like a recreational property here, use it and then rent it out, make some money. And I got pre-approved for that. Again, another miracle. And then I didn't find a house I liked. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to look, law of attraction, just look at the houses I like. Like, how do I feel? Does it feel good? Then I found this house and I thought, oh my God, this house is incredible. I love this house. And then I was like, well, I can't afford the house in Vancouver and this house. So then I made a decision to sell that house. I had to talk to my kids about it. And in the meantime, me being me, I'm telling everybody, oh, check out this house. I'm buying this house. And they're like, oh, did they accept your offer? And I was like, no. And I thought, maybe I should stop telling people that I'm buying this house. Anyways, at the end of the day, someone else was putting an offer in, which forced me to put an offer in. And then it became me against a retired Caucasian couple. They took my offer. I bought the house. Yeah, it works. It works. Yeah. This is why I was like, I got to tell Kim my story because there's so many other single parents like me who are like, oh, I'm a single parent. I'm a single parent. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a single parent. It's all about your belief. But society has programmed us to think that, oh, we're these poor single parents, but we're actually not. As soon as you change that belief, things line up for you. But I'll give you the tour now. So it's got a lot of light. It's like a loft style, but there's that. The thing that was incredible about this house is the view. Are you ready for it?
Okay.
It's all glass. I don't know if you can see it. You can see the mountains right there. Is there a glare?
No.
That's my view.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I wanted this house, because it was the view. It's just so magical. And the master bedroom has the same view, and there's a big loft. So from the top, there's more windows up there. The bathroom has a view, like you take a shower and you look at that. Like big things really came to me, and it was because of the belief and the knowing. And that's why I was able to manifest. Like when I knew I wanted this house, I knew this was my house. I knew it. Like I can't even tell you. The house found me. Like I knew I was going to buy this house. I had no doubt in my mind. That's why I was showing everyone the photo. I'd started planning the housewarming party. I hadn't even put an offer in. I hadn't even sold my house. And then, but through a miracle of my friend, who was a good friend of mine, who was my realtor, she sold my house in a week. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're not going to sell that house." I was like, "Trust me, it's gonna." Don't. I was like, "Don't put doubt in my head. Just listen to me. Do what I tell you to do." And she believes in law of attraction, and she goes, "Okay, Lily, I'll try my best." I said, "Don't worry, it's going to be easy. It's this gorgeous house right by the beach." She sold it in a week. And she said, "You're good at manifesting. When you want something," she said, "you make it happen." So she stopped doubting me after that. Yeah. And I also own a home in Portugal too. I have 2 houses. Like I was poor single mom like 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And now I have a really beautiful farm in Portugal that has olive trees, cork trees, eucalyptus. It's 35 acres. It has a beautiful 4-bedroom house, pool, outdoor shower, really nice place, big garage. Because I always wanted to live in Europe, and I thought I'd have to marry a guy to get a European passport, but there's actually lots of other ways to manifest a passport. So through an investment, buying a property, you can actually get a Portuguese passport. So I manifested that. Yeah, law of attraction is a powerful tool, and I'd love to share with you what I think that one of the biggest takeaways for me was. So they obviously give you this formula, right? Create a thought, have a focused thought, get into the receiving mode, all of these other things. But what I realized for myself was that because my parents were immigrants, I was programmed with, you have to work hard in life, and things aren't going to be as good for us because we're not Canadian. And I'm like, actually, I was born in Canada. I'm Canadian. Like I have a different belief than you. So I feel like I was really going between these two thoughts that my parents had. And I do believe hard work creates money. My parents worked hard, they made money. But I also felt like, well, that's not who I am, because I see my friends that I went to school with being born in Canada and what they have and what their parents have. And I'm like, well, they have a different life than us. So I had to go through those belief systems and decide that those ones that my parents believed, those are actually their beliefs. Those are not my belief. And then look at, well, what do I believe? What do I feel I'm worthy of? So I feel like that was the biggest part for me, was to disengage my cultural beliefs, because all of my relatives had that same belief because they also were immigrants. And it's interesting because my cousins and I, we all teetered on like, no, things are different here. But then I was the one who could take it, because of law of attraction, to that whole other level and be like, that's not my belief. Understanding how powerful the belief is. I was able to let go of that, focus on what I believe in, and then get into the allowing mode, and really did a lot of processing myself of, do I feel worthy to receive? Even when I got this house, I was like, oh my God, I was like, I never thought you could have 2 dream homes in one lifetime. I was like, is that even a thing? I felt guilty for a hot minute. And I was like, but why? I'm just a masterful creator. Anybody can do it. Yeah. And I'm 47 now, and I feel like being 47, I finally know myself. And I really feel like I'm just actually at the beginning of manifesting and creating what I want, because I'm not affected by other people's thoughts the same way, or what people think about my lifestyle, like, oh, like, who do you think you are going to Portugal when people are suffering here? I'm like, well, I like Portugal. So that part's been interesting too, other people's judgments. Effort is the biggest, what do you call it? Like, Esther says that, like, why are you putting so much effort? And I was like, really? it works. Like, I can't explain it. It makes no sense, but it does, because you just have to get into the flow. Effort is like a pushing against the flow. You just got to get into the flow. That's it. How do you get in the flow? You got to figure that out. But just get into the flow. It sounds so contradictory, but it works. When I know something to be true, I can make it happen. You know, sometimes you just know something and it doesn't matter what anyone says. You're like, no, I just know it. Like, I know it. I can't explain it. I just know it. And then that belief is so strong that it manifests. Like, I'd love to share, like, kind of going back on what I just said about how other people perceive you, because I think this can be a limit for people. When you are, you know, with your family or with your friends you've had for a long time and you start to change, a lot of people won't understand it. They might be jealous of it, or they might just think you're crazy in the beginning. Like when I started talking about, you know, taking my kids and going to India back then, people thought I was quite crazy for taking my kids out of school. And then a few moms came to me and said, like, oh yeah, they've totally changed. That was the best thing you could have ever done for them. But you know, 90% of the people were against it. And same with a lot of other things I've done in life. And I feel like it's really, again, your choice to decide what you're going to listen to and to know who you are and what's right for you. And that's why I said, like, you know, now that I'm 47, I feel like I'm finally getting stable in what I believe in. And, you know, sure, I can make a skincare product with energy healing. People think that's crazy. And I'm like, it works. It works. So I'm happy about that. So really knowing like yourself and starting to feel confident with your choices, because then you can anchor your belief, you can anchor your thought. The minute you start to waver, your manifestations start to waver. So I think that's something really important for people to know, is like, you can have a belief, but how strong is that belief? The stronger the belief, the stronger the manifestation. I'm excited. I really, just the other day I was thinking, you know what, law of attraction is the most powerful tool there is. It really is. Because you can only get better at it. If you get your footing in it, you can only go get better. And then I listen to them all the time on YouTube, and I really like the old ones. And she was saying, you know, like, you know, each time you listen to it, you hear something different. And it's like the biggest mistake we make, or one of the biggest ones, is that we judge contrast, whereas we have to know it's a step one moment to define what we want and what we don't want. And if we could just let go of that judgment, then we can pivot quicker. And I was like, it's so true. It really is, because those step one moments are the ones that make us stronger, really, more focused, more disciplined in our mind. Yeah. I like them. They always get me to a good feeling place. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think that's the biggest thing too. It's like, it teaches you to feel that inside. It's not just like someone giving you a pep talk, because I think that's different than like connecting with yourself and allowing that vibration to build. I think that's the key to law of attraction. That's different. It's not just a pep talk, or it's not something that you feel like you need the food. You know, it doesn't feel like food. It feels like something is happening inside that's building. Something's happening inside that's building. And then you have the tools to think about, well, how do I feel? How do I sync up with that? Yeah, so that was my latest. I'm just a masterful creator. Anybody can do it.